Happy Monday. Welcome back to Retake the Week. It's been a pretty quiet 7 days as far as actual Counter-Strike being played. We had to wait until yesterday for PGL Bucharest to kick off. But in the meantime, we had a lot of low-level play, but also we did have some stories. We'll be getting into all of that. We had a Counter-Strike update. We'll talk about it. We'll do a little bit of a mini, almost preview of Bucharest because it's barely started. There was no double swing, so I guess we can just do a fake preview, I guess we'll call it, like just with the two of us, just having to talk about it. More talking about which teams need certain things, which teams are going to be looking for certain performances, and which ones are looking to the future. But before we get into all that, before we even address the elephant in the room taking his clothes off, we need to thank the people who make this show so fun to make, the members. The members get access to bonus content, they get access to the King's Court interviews, the BTS, and of course, the prospect demos. Well, it's all real live stream VODs that are not this kind of show. They get a bunch of extra content, as well as being a member is the best way to support the channel. So we are very thankful for those members. They make it possible for me to put this show out on Spotify and Apple Music every week. They make it a viable podcast in that sense, like a real legitimate podcast. So thank you very much to those people. Let's get back to the show. Quacke, did you have a good week? Anything to promo? Anything to talk about?
Did have a good week, worked a lot. Hey, members, special exclusive content. Like, no. All right, hang on. No, good week, a lot of work. Put two op-eds out with B-Trams in collaboration. These ones you actually want to read. They're actually really good. It's good stuff we found around the Swedish teams to sort of point out their strengths and weaknesses, because we are going towards the Swedish Cup. So in a collab with him, we put out 2 out of 4, 4 more coming this week, about each of the invited teams, Alliance, Medisport, Johnny Speeds, and I always blank on the fourth one, Eyeballers. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Medisport, turns out, Lumen, not that shit an opper. The stat there was, in rounds where he had the op, he had genuinely the best round swing out of all the oppers in Sweden, which is kind of insane. But his rifle rounds fucking bottomed out. But yeah, no. They're really fun to write. Other than that, I've just been fucking really hard at work because we are prepping, which means that I am filling in for my boss, who works with the event more than the site in this time period, and also working social media during the qualifier. We had the qualifier yesterday. I'm going to briefly talk about it later on in the show. But yeah, that's been my week. It's just work, a little bit of alcohol. Hell yeah.
Okay, well, let's get into it. As we said, it's been a bit of an odd week in terms of not too much CS to talk about, at least not until yesterday, but plenty of big stories, and we'll start with the Counter-Strike. We won't get into the stories too quickly. I don't need to rush into that stuff. Some of it's kind of heavy. Instead, we're going to start off with just pure and proper Counter-Strike. It's PGL Bucharest. It's a bit of a strange event in the sense that, for me, looking at the rosters in attendance, I'm not really sure which teams need specific things out of this event. You know, it's not like there's a major to qualify for. It's not like there's a great deal of importance in terms of winning this event, in terms of other sort of things. Maybe you need a better VRS placement for the next season. But aside from that, it seems like a bit of a strange event and a strange part of the year, sort of entering that twilight zone where we see teams underperform and we go, they're prepping for the major. You know, we kind of enter that sort of area where we're not too sure what to take seriously, what to take with a grain of salt. But the way I've decided to approach this event is the teams who are attending the major, this is them prepping. This is their training. This is their first event where they can show us the sort of things we should expect going into that major. Now, closer to the major, I expect them to start doing the saving strats classic, start not really playing very well intentionally. But this event, I'm going to take everything seriously. Like, this is a real reflection of their level. This is what to expect from them. And for all those teams that are attending the major, that is everyone except Heroic, Bet Boom Saw, Gentlemates. Are Pain attending the major? They are, right? They're stage 2. If I'm not going crazy, they're stage 2. So yeah, those 4 teams are not attending. Everyone else, we're going to start taking notes. We're going to start keeping track in terms of what to expect from you from the major. And the other teams, I really I don't know what to make of it for them. Like, is it just for next season they're getting prepped? Are they just seeing what they have going into 2026? Quack, I don't know what you make of it, but for me, like, Heroic, BetBoom, Saw, Gentlemates is just consolidation at the end of the year rather than anything else.
Well, there's a lot to gain even in this period for non-major teams because the January invites are so important. Like the way it's being talked about by people who know more about this than I do is that the January invite ranking is basically going to decide who makes a major or not. Like that's which is insane to say, but that ranking is the basis for inviting to PGL Cluj-Napoca at the start of the year, IEM Krakow, and IEM Brazil, which like all three of those are off of the January 5th ranking date. So getting a good standing now is going to help towards that. Like obviously the major is going to do a lot. I think the teams that perform at the major will also basically lock in their spot in the next major because of that. But for non-major teams, they still have a lot to fight for in this period, which I think is why Heroic have decided to go to this event and to go to Chengdu and, you know, play through these events. And yeah, like that's what you want, you know. You want to be good in this period as well. There's a thing with like there's no major to qualify for, but there's still a lot of points to play for. Like the fact that teams have sort of just stopped going to these lands in tier 2 and stuff, it's kind of weird because it's like you still need these points. You still want these points, and especially because of that January ranking, which is so important. You really should do that. So yeah, it's not the same, and it's still quite early. Like if you perform well here and then you bomb out for the rest of the season, then you're kind of screwed for January anyway. But you can sort of, while the major teams are going to have a much easier way getting there because they just need to perform at the major and then they're going to be in good standing come January, you won't have that for Heroic and Gamer Legion. This is their chance to sort of hang on in that window and to sort of say, hey, oh, sorry, Gamer Legion did make the major. Heroic and whoever else, BetBoom. Anyway, it's their chance to hang on to the scene and hang on and try to keep up because they're gonna need that. Next season is very much being decided on the end of this one in a very weird way.
Yeah, so it is important for them, but yeah, the teams that are at the major, it's like we get to do the same thing, but at the major, which is later, maybe we should take that more seriously. It is difficult to figure that out, but I'm just going to take it all very seriously. And in that sense, for me, the team that I'm really looking towards to actually prove something to me, like you have to be really strong here going forward, like to prove what you have going forward, is Liquid. Like Liquid for me, you've taken you've taken Liege back on. That in itself is pressure on Shuhei, it's pressure on Nerds, it's pressure on everyone on this team to deliver. Because you have added in an element that tends to be a little more volatile, a little more reactive to when things go poorly, but that when it's on a team that's playing well, that's playing good CS, is an absolute killer. Is genuinely a dangerous rifler, one of the best in the world. So I'm really intrigued to see how this Liquid team plays. And so far, you know, we have had our opening BO3s. They took down Legacy 2-1. It wasn't a smashing, but it was a convincing win. Like they lost Mirage at the opener, fine, whatever. That's a map Legacy play fairly well. But then to take home Inferno and Nuke with a really confident-looking Nerds, which is one of the players I had a problem with in this team. When you're talking about bringing a Liege back, what's Nerds going to be doing exactly? Like how are we going to measure which player goes where, who gets to be aggro when, who gets to demand resources and timing and all this other stuff. The fact that Nerds has so far had a pretty strong performance whilst playing with a Liege, promising. Very early days, and that's one of the things we have to monitor, I think, is Liquid, because they could be another one of those teams scratching for top 10, just in terms of the roster on paper, despite what we've seen over the last 6 months. Easily a top 10 team, so if they start looking threatening here, man, that major's going to get really scary for everyone who's basically not Vitality. There's maybe a couple other teams like Furia, maybe like a couple other teams who are at the top who are comfortable against everyone. But if you're talking about a team like FaZe, a team like Falcons, a team like Na'Vi, and you're trying to make major playoffs, and all of a sudden Liquid are good too. God damn it! I'd be so tilted if I was on those teams because that just got that little bit harder.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say that I think Liquid need to win this event, but they're one of the prime candidates to do it, and it would be very good for them if they did. That would be a really big vote of confidence going into the major. Because for them, this is the last thing they play before the major. That's the thing. A lot of teams are here. Like some teams have overlap with IEM Chengdu, like Heroic and such, but they're also not in the major. And some teams are also going to Blast Rivals. Only 8 teams are going there. For some of these teams attending who are also going to be in the major, it is the last thing they're playing before they go to the major. Aurora is the same thing. I think 3D Max are also playing Chengdu. That's scary. And Astral is also playing Chengdu. But like you have Aurora, Liquid. I think maybe Pain actually have all 3 of them. They have rivals as well. But I think Gamer Legion are not going to Chengdu. Yeah, like a bunch of teams. This is their last thing before the major, which is pretty crazy because the major is still like a month out. But yeah, so it would for them it would be good to perform here. It would also be good to like try some stuff. You don't. That's why I'm sort of hesitant to say that Liquid need to win this event, or like where you feel like you really need to get that. You could also just kind of say, especially for Liquid, who are still sort of developing how to work with Nerds and Elige in the same team, and how like Shui, the first time Elige is playing with Shui, etc., etc. For them who are still working with this, I feel like this is a bit of a proving ground, and this is like your first test before the major, and that's going to be important for them. So yeah, it is exciting. I'll say one team who I think need to do well in a counterintuitive way, because I hold these guys to a different standard. I think Aurora need to do well here.
That's not exactly a controversial take. Like Aurora, they are the highest ranked team at this event. They are a team with a lot of attention being placed on them, especially in the leadership roles. I mean, we've all been talking endlessly about their T-sides, the way they run, how dependent Major is on people just hitting crazy multi-kills. All of this has been hyper-fixated upon. And they are a team with the talent to be a threat at the major. Like, when I was talking about that group of teams who don't want Liquid to be good, Aurora's in that group. Like, they need to be making major playoffs. For them, that's the bare minimum, otherwise it's a failure. They would ideally, honestly, at this event, obviously look to win. At the major, make probably top 4 for them to be really happy with their result at the least. And if you're going to be doing that, you cannot come up short in a field where 3D Max, Liquid, and Astralis are your next top opposition. There is no legit title-winning side here. There is you, and then there is meh. You know what I mean? There's meh.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of meh. I can make good cases for certain players on these teams. I cannot tell you any of those other teams should be considering themselves title contenders. That's just not viable for them. Aurora, this is your time to shine. If you don't win this, go international. I mean, I've seen some pretty rah-rah nationalistic comments from some Turks on that topic, as many of us have suggested they should go international. They've pushed back with, we'd rather be shit than international, which is 10 out of 10 sort of way to think. But they're not looking that strong and that potent, given the fact that everyone else has leveled up, and that means that their like brand of CS has just slowly let them down further and further.
Yeah, there's only 2 teams in this event who have genuinely played an elite grand final, and it's Astralis, who played against Spirit in PGL Bucharest, or Astana, sorry. This is Bucharest. No, wait, we had a Bucharest before as well. Yeah, no.
There's been multiple Bucharests this year.
Yeah. They played, and also multiple Budapests. Wow. We have Astralis, they played against Spirit, and then you have Aurora, who played Esports World Cup, and also at the start of the year against Spirit in Blast Bounty. So yeah, like there's 2 teams who have been in the grand final, and one of them is definitely worse than the other, I would say. So Aurora, yeah, I feel like they need to take this trophy anyway, and they don't need to do it for the major. Like, it's not necessarily the major thing, but they are a team who should be going into the major feeling that we are going to win the major. At this point, they should feel that way. Feeling like if we don't win the major, we are disappointed with how we're playing in Budapest. That's what Aurora should feel like with the year they've had. And I think if they can't win here, that would be bad for them. That would genuinely be bad. And at this point, with the year they've had, I'm not going to say that they're due a trophy. I don't think they are. But they're due. They were supposed to take another step, which they haven't done. And this is their last chance to do that before we get to the major. And it's like, I'll say, it is a pretty open field. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that they're better than anybody else, really, just because they win this trophy. It is a little bit like Furious Trophy as well. It is a little bit like, those events we don't really have huge, like high-ranked teams playing here. But to take a trophy, I think would be a step that Aurora were supposed to take at this point, and they haven't. So at this event, yeah, if it isn't Aurora winning this event, I feel like that's a big disappointment.
It'll be an absolute failing. I mean, look, they've had other excuses to have not won tournaments, right? They lost the Season 1 finals of Blast Bounty to... It was Spirit, right? I'm not going crazy.
They lost to Spirit in Blast Bounty.
Yeah, they lost that one to Spirit. They lose in Astana to... Is it Spirit again? No, it's Furia this time. They've lost these events which are not quite elite, but were pretty strong and would have been a valid title just by one step. They were one game short. They were 2 games short in the Astana sense. They were third. They were third, so that means they won a third place game against Furia. They lost to Astralis in the semi. I misspoke.
They lost to Complexity in the quarterfinal in the first Bucharest. That was winnable for them as well. It was a Falcons G2 grand final. Yeah.
Falcons, G2, both tougher teams than there are at this event. That's also a big point.
Yeah. Pre-Mongols Falcons and just the end of... pre-Monacy Falcons and just the end of Monacy G2 in a grand final. Both of those are beatable for Aurora. 100%. It's... Yeah.
Yeah, they are genuinely so heavily favoured here. It would be an absolute letdown. And it would kind of be it feels like it's a momentum killer or builder. Either they win this event, it's like, we've got the trophy, we've got the title. Now going into this event, we feel more legitimized. Going into the major, we can be like, yeah, we won a title this year. This isn't absurd. Yeah. We can get it done. We can finish the deal. Now let's go and give ourselves a shot against the best teams. Or they lose this event, everyone goes, fuck, we are frauds, and utterly collapse. Just like how the last major they didn't make playoffs, we could see a repeat of that. And that would be a real issue. And it'd be, again, a continuing just like of a wasting of the talent on the roster. Like, we're talking about Zentaris, we're talking about Wakadi or Jota, we're talking about players that all individually could be on top 5 teams. I'm not exaggerating when I say that. If you've watched a Wakadi or POV, like, this guy is a real, legit, cracked rifler. Jota has moments. I mean, he's probably the least convincing of those two in terms of top 5, but at least he has those moments. Zentaris is, of course, a thing of beauty. They should be better. They should be winning this event. And if they don't, we're going to call for some heads. And you know which heads we want. Like, it is that leadership group that needs to be severely questioned. Maybe beaten, maybe tortured. I don't know. But something has to be done about their level of calling the strats they're putting together. Because watching them back on tape, you sometimes just... Is there a plan? Or is there just one idea? You know what I mean? Like, a plan needs steps and phases, and it sometimes looks like their round is do that. Just do that. Hope it works. And it's so frustrating.
Yeah. No, yeah, I would like to see Stanislaw and Vince.
Yeah, well. We'd rather be shit than be international.
Dude. Is there anybody else who you think needs to do well here? I mean, Heroic goes without saying.
Big ones. Some big ones. So 3D Max actually don't have to. Just to knock that name off. 3D Max do not actually have to be that good here. They were second at the CSA Championships. Fine. They have, this sort of plucky underdog vibe that's currently just maxing out. If they do go and win this, I wouldn't be that shocked. They wouldn't be that alarming that 3D Max managed to come through in this field. Just because of how well they've played under Gravity's leadership. Maka's been strong. Yep. Gravity himself just feels like unleashed. Like, he's played really strong CS. They've just been a different beast. And honestly, Bucharest win, Bucharest top 8, whatever to them, it's not that big a deal. They're going to aim for it, but it's not that big a deal. 3D Max, cross them off. Talked about Liquid. Astralis, they would love to win this just to rub it in everyone's face that Magisk wasn't just a panic, we don't have any money, sign someone move, right? They'd be like, haha, see, we told you, he's super good at Counter-Strike. Like, no, he's not. You guys are kind of bad. But if they win it, they'd love to rub it in our faces. I think the only other team that needs to play really well in that sense, like the way we talked about Aurora needing, is, you touched it, Heroic. Heroic, obviously, I tweeted about it, last chance. Be good here, or cut half the team. Like, we're going full Cassard, just cut everyone. Like, this is not, this is untenable. And otherwise, there's a couple other teams that just have that sort of same Astralis petty factor. Like, Fnatic with Crims, if they win this event. Haha, told you so. Totally was a decision that we should have made. Definitely shouldn't have kept Cypher, etc., etc. That's going to be the storyline coming out of their camp.
Yeah.
And things like that. So you can make a case maybe that FlyQuest desperately need to not be bad for once. But apart from that, a lot of the teams I think are in, we're just playing this. There's more to our season than this event. Not everyone's that desperate. Actually, fuck it. No. FlyQuest lost to Draculan to Gen 1. If FlyQuest don't win a game here, kick at least 3 players.
Wow.
Sign someone from your league team or something that I keep seeing you tweet about. Like, this cannot persist. You lost to Gen 1. Like, there's a blood debt that needs to be, like, repaid. If you continue to lose after losing to Gen 1. There you go.
Yeah.
There's your headline, everyone.
There is your headline, yeah.
Kingt endorses ritualistic sacrificing of Australian Counter-Strike professionals. And I assume there's a Kiwi. There is a Kiwi, yeah. And Kiwis too, but yeah.
Kill and them all. Romanian.
He's not getting sacrificed, though, because he's the one good player.
Oh, right, yeah.
Remember, this is me we're talking about. Regali can do nothing wrong.
Well, they did just sign Azure as a coach. Hey.
Onto the altar.
Yep.
Take his heart out.
I hear Jacob's available, if you want to make something happen there.
Hey, he frags. He frags.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter the opposition. He's getting that 0.7 KPR. You could put him against anyone. He's getting that 0.7 KPR. He just does.
Yeah. Who was on there? Hang on. Let me think about this. It was Azure, Jacob, JKS, Lias, and Grat. So you have Netic instead of Lias, and somebody else instead of Azure, because he's now, I guess, Inns is calling already. You could put somebody else in there.
Wow, thrilling.
We have a team.
It doesn't sound great, does it?
No, it doesn't sound that great. No. Let's move on. I don't think Bucharest. There's not too much. Who do you? Let's just finish off by asking this. Who do you think wins this event? Pick one. Pick a winner.
If I have to bet on it, put it that way.
Putting your honor on the show.
Honestly, I would have liked to have seen Aurora Liquid before I make this decision, like that gameplay, but I haven't seen it yet. It's only 11:56. That game doesn't start for a while. But give me Liquid. Look, they beat Legacy,
all right,
who are CAC champs. Just a little spark is all they really needed, because they are a team of talented players. I refuse to believe that NAF could never be good again. I refuse to believe that Nertz could never be good again, as much as he was a full-on fraud. Like, it's what it felt like for a while, given his level on Liquid. Yeah. This is a really talented team. And Aurora, not exactly hard to anti. Now, sure, some of your anti is, well, they will just hit something at a minute 30 as a group. But if you have the individuals to frag out against them, which I think Liquid certainly do, you can win that matchup 9 times out of 10 with a bit of coach and IGL work. And then after that, the toughest opposition are the 3D Max Chaos Bomb and what? Legacy? Now, Legacy's a legit team, but you already beat them. So, yeah, I like the Liquid bet. Who do you want to put your money on? No real money, obviously. We're not actually betting right now. This isn't changing into a gambling stream all of a sudden, but
I genuinely want to put it on Heroic, because I feel like this is the best start to an event they've had in so long, where I kind of just want to run with it. But I also know we cannot do this. We cannot do this. We can't keep doing this. I'll just take the counter on that, and I'll say Aurora. I feel like they have to win this event, and I feel like they should win this event. It's them or Astralis. I guess Liquid. I'll take Liquid over Astralis, but on paper it should be them or Astralis, Aurora or Astralis. But I'll take Aurora for it.
Yeah, that Heroic game though. Sorry, just such a joke to watch. Like, what is that nuke? What is that nuke? Since when is this xCloud? Like, where has this xCloud been? It was such nonsense watching it. I was just like, oh yeah, he's just going to take every fight and win them all. This is the new heroic win con. Yeah, they're going out in groups, 1 and 3. 1 and 3. Fucking watch it.
Yeah.
I was just so tilted by that game. So I was like, it feels so fake. There's no way this is how you're going to play.
Nope.
We'll see. But let's just say so far he's yet to repeat the feat.
He is indeed, and that's why I can't bank on it. But it is. Look, to touch on them positively in a positive way for once, they have won the first game, and I think they should beat BetBoom. They're looking like they're winning Nuke at the moment, which is BetBoom's pick. And, you know, that's good for them. That's probably the best they've done so far this season, to be honest, aside from beating Spirit one time.
Yeah, that one Spirit fluke.
I want to run with it all the way to the final because, again, like I keep looking at this field and I'm like, there's nobody here which is impossible for Heroic to beat. It's just the fact that I know they won't do it, which is the eternal disappointment with Heroic.
Remember, they do have to beat more than one of these teams. They can't just have a 1 BO3 upset and then win the event. That's not how it works. They have to beat like 2 of, at least, Aurora, 3D Max, Liquid, Astralis, Pain, Legacy, Game Legion, Gentlemates. Like, they have to beat at least 2 of them. And that's, you know, disregarding the fact that they can easily lose to all the teams ranked beneath them at this event. Yeah. It's not fucking happening.
Pound for pound, they can beat anybody here. The thing is that is the eternal frustration with Heroic, is the fact that they never do. So
at some point you have to stop thinking of them as being able to do it then, but whatever. Maybe that's
no, it's not there yet. Is this a dead cat bounce or is it them being so back? I'm not willing to bet on the fact that they're so back. So I'll take Aurora. Look, I feel like they're solid. They've only played the 1 game. As you said, that Liquid Aurora game we have today is probably going to decide quite a bit. But I don't see them losing to anybody in the 2-0 bracket. They should have no issues getting out of the Swiss. And yeah, if they lose, I don't think they lose before the grand final. I don't think they go out of the event before the grand final. So it's winning or losing, basically. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, let's move on. As we said, there's not too much we can cover in terms of the games because they've just started. We're doing all this based on 1 BO3 that's been completed in terms of round 1. I mean, there's technically round 2. We've had a couple completions as well. That sounds terrible.
Nothing interesting. There's
Legacy beat Gentlemates. Pain beat Gamer Legion. Gamer Legion disappointed you. Are you surprised, viewers? I'm certainly not. But let's get
all of you tuned into that game instead of our pre-show. Were you happy with that decision?
Let's get into the next topic. Because, well, this one's not really that fun. And it's a general topic with a specific parts of a specific story we have to go over. But let's talk about player mental health issues. And realistically, it's becoming a growing concern. Like, it was always a concern. It, reared its ugly head a while ago, back as far as like 2018 was one of the big stories. 2018, 2019 was a big story surrounding player health in general, but, given the context, it was mental health related as well. But yeah, all of this triggered by last week's fiasco. The only way to put it. I'm getting on a train, apologies, on the way to my girlfriend's. I'm looking at my phone. I start seeing some weird messages, some weird chatter. And I check HLTV, and Senzu's been benched. Which, to me, came out of left field. Now, immediately, there was some speculation about Counter-Strike reasons to bench him, all of which were absurd. They felt absurd at the time, but we had to speculate. Now, there was obviously a lot of talk about potentially things from his days in NKT. Maybe there's some sort of drama behind the scenes. As I said in my Discord, maybe there's something that's happened in terms of his behavior off the server that has triggered this. We'll wait and see what it is, if it's that, because it feels almost impossible that this is a Counter-Strike related issue. And then we kind of don't really know the full story. Like, I don't feel like it's been fully told to us yet. We haven't really, but we've pieced together some things, essentially leading us back to Senzu having some struggles with his mental health, simply. Like, the pressures of being a pro, the pressure of, dealing with people's reactions, all the social media, all of these things kind of just putting an unbearable weight on him. And him, it's saying he snapped would be a bit strange because we've not really seen that crazier behavior, but the reaction on his Instagram, like, it was all really strange. But it leads me to believe that we have an unfortunately incredibly irresponsible sort of scene when it comes to the amount of incredibly young and unprepared or ill-prepared people gaining attention, recognition, and then tons of pressure heaped onto them at points where they are just not ready for it. So there are a lot of examples we can talk about where this happened before. These are warning signs. We had, as I mentioned before, like Device's problems with his gut health, all of it likely incredibly linked to stress. Like, that was...
Yep.
It's not just speculation. It is just generally the way your gut works. Stress is going to mess with it. It's why when you're nervous, the first date, you need to take shit. Like, it just happens. Like, every time, leading up to it, all of a sudden you feel like you need to take a shit. It's just directly related to stress. Like, it's actually crazy how much that matters. We've had players, deal with alcohol and substance abuse. Well, and substance abuse was a pretty weird story from years and years ago. Not everyone knows a lot about. But, alcoholism, rampant in the scene. We were not just talking about players here. Obviously, there's the famous config story. But also, amongst talent. They've all talked about it openly pretty recently. Like, just the stress on them of the long hours, the travel. They've turned to this sort of lifestyle. This is the sort of thing we need to be more openly discussing, but also we need to be creating safeguards for. Players under the age of 21 shouldn't necessarily have social media accounts. There's certain things that they shouldn't necessarily have access to. This is something that we should be at least talking about. Like, why aren't player agencies, for example, creating these sorts of initiatives? Like, why shouldn't a player agency provide their players with a social media manager who handles all their accounts? Like, there is no official account that they ever see the DMs for. They ever see anything. If you want to DM him about sponsorship, you DM his agent. Creating layers of abstraction to protect players, because this sort of Senzu situation, it's likely not an isolated incident. If he is truly burnt out, stressed out, mentally collapsing due to the messages he gets, which is something he's talked about before, on wins, on losses, it's something that certain members of talent have also discussed about, like receiving death threats, receiving visceral, vicious hatred. Like, why don't we have someone in the way of that reaching players? Like, that. These are not necessarily things that everyone's going to be behind or everyone's going to want, but I think it's something we have to at least consider or start talking about, because we've had so many players need relief from the stresses and strains of doing this. I just think we haven't had the conversation, and we are approaching that 1 month of the year where we tend to talk about this stuff. So here's where it begins.
Indeed. There have been incidents like this before. Astralis is maybe the notable one, where we had a very packed schedule in 2019, very packed travel schedule. I'll tell you, let me see, I think Astralis actually skipped a couple of events, and they still played, in 2019, they still played, I think, 18 separate events. Like 18 separate travels. This year we're gonna have players only playing about 14, around that. Last year we had about 14 for like a player like Torji, who was still Mouse were still going to most events and stuff. And you end up playing about 14 events every year at this point. But in 2019 we were playing like 18, 19 events. Some players would travel to like 20 different lands in the course of a year. And that's a big strain. Despite that, what really sort of accelerated that thing with the Astralis players is that despite that, the following year in 2020, they played 50 more maps than they played in 2019. Like,
the Astralis portion of it, like the org, it's always going to be one of the big sort of controversies, because they managed the messaging around that situation. and also led to their team, their players, coming out and saying some things for them as well. They end up just being, demonstrably bollocks. Like, you're not skipping these events and attending these events to help your travel load. Like, they were just attending Blast events because of financial ties. Like, they had a bunch of deals in place that also didn't help anyone.
Right.
So that specifically is a whole thing. But let's just generally talking players.
Well,
how many have we seen take a mental health break this year?
Several, I think.
Like, to not get too much into the weeds of Blustralis, like, let's talk about this day and age of it. Like,
what I wanted to illustrate is when we then stepped into 2020 and went online, we were still playing more CS than we were. Like, the professional team was playing a lot more than we were before. That's an additional stress. That's why we saw players take breaks after that 2019 season. Then we sort of had a correction. We had less travel at that point, so the travel related stuff like that. So in 2022, we only played. It was actually kind of boring. We only had like 12 events, which players would attend. And now we're sort of stepping back up. We have more TOs entering. So the travel schedule does add a big stress. It does add a big stress as well that people are very public, and we are talking about teenagers. And I think we're seeing stuff like this from player agencies. We are, like, I'm seeing stuff like the Prodigy agency, for example, where they are talking about stuff like this, where they're working much more closely with the players, where stuff like this hopefully doesn't reach them. But I do still know that, like, the Twitter account of any given Swedish player will just lead directly to his cell phone. Like, it's not, and I'm talking, like, obviously we're not talking tier 1, but I feel like at this point you have players who have an agent and who are public and who play for a salaried organization. Let's take any given Alliance player, for example. I do feel like at that point, yeah, they shouldn't be reading their Twitter DMs. Their agent should be reading their Twitter DMs. And that makes sense. And it goes for tier 1 as well. Like, Brollan spoke as well, like, after taking over leadership from Mouse, he said in an interview recently that he literally he had to remove Twitter. Like, he just couldn't be on Twitter at all whatsoever for a while, just because there was so much stuff around, like, the Shui move and everything, and him taking over leadership. And that does affect you a lot. That's also something we talk about. Something we talk about a lot, or have talked about before, is whenever there are cheating accusations. A lot of it is in tier 2. Whenever there are big cheating accusations, a lot of the time those people who post cherry-picked clips and try to point something out just off of something they saw on broadcast with Twitch clips or demo clips, in the next event they then feel vindicated because the player they pointed out started playing worse. And a lot of the time they feel like, we were right, he stopped cheating because he was called out on it and now he stopped. I don't think that's the case. I think they play worse because they were witch hunted by a community who will send them and their family death threats. This is what happens. This is exactly what happened with Oxygen, for example. But there people felt like, oh, he's playing so much worse in the next event. That affects him. It affects his performance. It affects his career. It affects his mental state. It affects his life. It affects his family. It affects so many people. And unfortunately, it's very difficult to deal with the root cause of this problem. This stuff happens. It's like, in an ideal world, people should just stop doing this stuff. It's going to happen. Like, it is unfortunately going to happen. And that's very difficult to control. The real solution is to flip it. Players just shouldn't be on it. And I do feel like players should still have some presence. Like, players should still be able to market themselves. I think one of the reasons why agents maybe don't do this is because they feel that it's such a big PR hit where it's going to hurt their career not being active and not being open and not being facing outward. That might hurt their careers. A lot of Counter-Strike and sports, a lot of the success you find is not what you do on the server. A lot of it is just marketing. It's about who you know, it's about what you show off, and it's about how much you get talked about. It's about how top of mind you are when a manager thinks we need a new player. Who are we going to get? You need to be the player who they think of first. And you don't do that by playing excellent. In most cases, you don't do that by posting a 130 rating on HLTV. In most cases, you do that by being visible, by knowing people, by talking about them. And I think maybe one of the reasons why agents hesitate to do that right now is because social media is also a big part of that. Social media is like, if a fan base is talking about somebody who is showing up a lot on Twitch and stuff, that's going to happen. But I hope we see a shift there. I hope we see a shift, because there are ways to do this, but, like, manage these people's socials. better, I feel like would be a solution to this. But yeah, we've had a lot of breaks. We've had a lot of people talk about this, and some people who were close to taking a break, and some people who were close to quitting, and some people who did quit. I think JL quit for a similar reason. It was similar, but it's burnout. And all of this stuff ties into each other. So yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah,
and it's a problem we need to solve.
Like the social media aspect, the being visible aspect. For me, we've had many, like in terms of traditional sports, examples where people have become online sensations. 90% of that is not them posting shit on Twitter. Hell, more than 90%. It's not even them touching their Instagram. It's not them doing a damn thing. It's them playing the game. Someone else clips it. It's them being interviewed after a game. Someone else clips it. Like, they had no need to interact with it. Like, at any point. Realistically, they didn't do a damn thing. Like, the very few examples we have in esports where social media is directly linked to success or notoriety is through things like YouTube. Like, say I made YouTube clips endlessly. Like, say I was Kyojin. Like, I made YouTube highlight reels. And that got me noticed. Notice the one example I have, though. Like, the majority of players make it to tier 1 play by just being good, grinding face it, and eventually being up there. That's it. Like, there's no real mystery to it. There's no branding, marketing required. I think that's very oversold. They could have never touched social media, and I think 90% of them would have made it. Like, is there an aspect of it in terms of making friends and links when you're not known? Yeah, sure. Again, at no point when you were on a team did you need it, though. Like, you'd already done the hard work. Once you go to a LAN and meet someone in person, give them your phone number. Do you ever need to be on Twitter with that person? No, you don't.
Yeah.
You don't. That's I think, a bit of a misnomer. Like, once you're beyond the very infancy of competitiveness or competing in CS, you haven't any need for it. And even your Twitch streams. Let's say you want to build a big Twitch brand so that when you retire, you can have a very dull 200 viewer stream that every pro seems to have. I've tuned in a few times. I'm always curious as to why everyone's watching. I still don't understand. I've never understood why people watch pro streams. They are all invariably dull, but they exist. You can always do that once you're a pro. You don't need to be grinding FPL streams as a 20-year-old. There's just no need for it.
Yeah, but there comes a stage. In tier 2, it is still really important to be visible because a lot of the time that's how you get known. This is a very online business. It's rare that you actually get to meet in person when you're just coming up. You know, there's players on, like, when I'm talking about my like local scene, we have a pretty healthy LAN scene. But if you go to other countries, the first LAN some players go to might be a tier 1 LAN in a lot of cases. So a lot of this happens online. That's where this media presence is pretty important. But there comes a point when it just
have an agent, you should no longer need to do that yourself.
I do feel like that, yeah.
Your agent
I do feel like
should
that's
be able to do that. Yo, Ashley, hit me up. Hit me up. I will promote your players for you. Get them off social media. I will do all the promo you need. Every 12-year-old you have signed, fuck it. I'll do the promo for them. Everyone can DM me that they're cheating because I don't read my DMs. Come on. Just give it to me.
Yeah.
Like, I'll sort that out for you. Like, that's the sort of thing they should be doing. Letting that promo work go to people who do make videos, let them sort it. The player never has to waste their time, energy, or health on social media. As soon as you have an agent, it should be sorted.
I was very, like, in hindsight, I am very surprised that Brawlan actually uses his own Twitter account. Like, or at the very least, you know, checks it often enough where, like, he can read DMs and he reads what people are writing and stuff. I do feel like I'm very surprised by that because he is an in-game leader for one of the, let's just be generous and say, one of the 10 best Counter-Strike teams in the world, and he is up there as one of the best players of all time. He is, like, in terms of the grand scheme of things, he's somebody who's been at the elite level for so long, where, like, he's up here in the grand scheme of things. Out of everybody who's played CS, he's such a good player, and he still looks at his own Twitter. And, like, you know, it's funny when he posts, like, little replies and stuff to different stuff. It's funny when you get these interactions between players. But Jesus Christ, you should not be getting involved in like random social media drama. You shouldn't be reading your DMs because there's nothing good there. business inquiries :DM is what it says in Broland's bio. It should not say that. Your DMs should be closed. Like you,
especially business inquiries. Lord, you should you have an agent.
I hope he has an agent.
You should have an agent. If you don't have an agent, I don't want to see your contract, bro. I just don't want to see it because that's going to be a nightmare. Absolute nightmare.
Yep. It's another thing in a long line of things where I feel like the agents that are responsible for these players, especially these young players, are sort of falling short, but they have a responsibility which they aren't really feeling.
Yeah. So that's kind of a little rant, I guess. The whole Senzu thing, control easy's coming in. We'll talk about it in the Eternal Shuffle. We'll talk about the actual move.
Yeah.
The actual
we should note
results.
that we don't actually know what's happened with Senzu. A lot of it is just like
there's nothing official.
Looks
it's conjecture.
It does look like he is just in a bad space. But I don't know about that. We don't know if that's why he's been removed. We don't know, whatever. There was a lot of speculation. About the skin thing, which I think is what has led to a lot of these, it probably hasn't helped the thing. The fact that people are, at this point, probably suspecting that, he did some shady skin shit and that's what got him removed from Mongols. 100% he's received even more shitty DMs around that, and I really hope he doesn't read them. But we don't know. And we're not going to speculate more on that.
Yeah, we have no idea. But okay. Let's get on to... I'm going to change the order up of the show, so Quack, ignore the notes and listen to my words. Do as I say, not as I do, We are now going into the Power 10, which is back on the show. Yes, we have our fantastic graphics work. Thank you to the graphics editor of this segment. Deserves a raise, to be honest. Let's talk about the top 10 teams in the world. We're going to do Power 10, 4 teams. We're going to quickly throw these up. Well, I am. Quacker, you're going to pick holes with it if you can. But let's get straight into it. Who I consider to be the top 10 teams right now. At number 10, we do have an honorable mention. Because number 10 is FaZe. And I want to say honorable mention to 3D Max, because you actually made this difficult. I had to think about this. Like, genuinely think. Do I give FaZe's credit? But part of me for the Power 10 is talking, this is sort of a power ranking. I do consider FaZe to be much stronger than them, even if the results aren't there yet. I love the roster. I'm at 10. At 9, I have Na'Vi. Self-explanatory, really. They've just been disappointing. They still play a really strong style of CS. They're just not good enough. It's just not been hitting hard enough. They've not been winning enough maps. And yeah, they kind of choked away a very winnable best of 5 against Furia to legitimize themselves. So Na'Vi still at 9. Expect them to move relatively often because they're in a really weird space right now, and they've shown the capability of beating some strong teams. Beat Aurora, beat Mongols, but they're just not quite there yet for me. Up next, the Mongols at number 8. Yes, down with Senzu. I'm sorry, down with Mongols. Like, they are just going to plummet. They go all the way down to number 8. They could come back. If and when he comes back, they could rise up. If they make a crazy signing going into next season to try and replace his absence, they could also rise. But for me, Mongols, right now, in terms of your 10 most powerful teams in CS, they're at 8 and they're holding on for dear life. At number 7, Aurora. Fresh off a disappointing loss to Na'Vi, they are now at 7. They've not really been much higher this season. They would have been at 8 had it not been for the Mongols drop. They're just a bit of a frustrating team. Again, always about the talent, never the results with this team, so they're staying down here. At number 6, a team I wished I could have put higher, but just haven't been good enough since their victory at Blast Open London. It's G2. Their London victory was fantastic. Like, what an insane performance, just demonstrating the firepower they have on offer, some of the glimpses of how well Hunter can call. But it's not quite there. But in terms of how good I value them theoretically myself, I do think I have them at 6. Number 5, Falcons. Easy. Like, when they play, because they've skipped a lot of events, they are so terrifying. They finished 2nd at Pro League, top 4 at Fisher, 3rd at Esports World Cup. They've not really had a very disappointing run, despite, probably a lot of speculation. They should cut this player, cut that player, make this change, make that change. Who cares? They've been really solid. They've been really consistent, but they're not quite top 5, top 4, top 3, because the teams above them have been slightly better. Mouse, for example, They've been Falcons, but all year, and they've attended more events, and they've made more grand finals. They've just been consistent. They've been fantastic. They just lack that extra gear, that one individual who can carry them through a final, it seems, or can carry them through that toughest best of 3. They rarely miss, honestly, going into their next event, which is Chengdu. I expect them to be top 4 again. And if you don't expect them to be top 4, I don't know what team you're watching, but it's not Mouse Sports. At number 3, this is so heavy on the vibe, the firepower, the theoretical potency. Spirit. I have Spirit at 3. Slightly disappointed with the way they went out at their last event. Just a catastrophic, I think, Mirage T-side. And, well, the Chopper haters were ready to go to war, basically. Like, they were all over this loss to FaZe. I still think this team are going to be so much better than what everyone believes and what they've shown so far. Like, they are going to be devastating. They're going to be the best team in CS. For now, I can't put them higher than 3, though, just for fairness' sake. Number 2, Furia. I see some lips silently moving. I see some thoughts. Obviously, people are going to be iffy on this move. I'm assuming not everyone's going to agree with me, but the only team they've lost to since, before Fisher Playground is Vitality. Furia...
In playoffs.
I mean, yeah, in playoffs. I mean, yeah, eliminated by. Eliminated
Yeah, right.
by. Yeah.
Yep.
It's whatever, because, losing to Lehotu and Legacy in groups was its own bullshit. But Furia at number 2 for me feels, honestly, about as fair as I've ever been to Furia. Like, they've just been so good. Molodoy is a stud. K Serato still a G. Yekendar's career's back. This is it. This team are absolutely banging. I don't think they win the major, but they have a shot. You know what I mean? Like, they actually have that kind of shot where I'm like, don't say no. Don't say never. But at number 1, the era's not over, boys. Vitality, number 1 in the world. How could you not have them number 1, though? Like, realistically. Since their epic decline, they were top 4, second, first. Oh, wait, yeah. It's because they're still Vitality. They still have the best IGL, probably. Like, there's a lot of Fallen fans who are getting way ahead of themselves, but I'm pretty comfortable saying Apex is number 1. They have a Zywoo who's still very strong, a Flamesy who was pounding people, really strong roleplay all over the place. Rops is still a star. This Vitality, still the best team in the world, but this is open, and that's why I had to bring the Power 10 back. Just because of how fucking open this all is. Next week, probably still in the same places, just because none of these teams will have really played much. Maybe if Aurora win this event, you can have a conversation about them going up 1 spot. But over the course of the next couple of events, when Chengdu plays out, when Blast Rivals plays out, this list could almost be flipped on its head. Not quite literally, but, anyone from 1 to 6 could be almost anywhere in the top 6. Anyone from 7 to 10 could be anywhere from 4 to 10. Like, it is wild out there. And with the return of Liquid, 3D Max constantly knocking on the door, no one's even safe. So that's the Power 10. Quacker, do you like the list?
I mostly like the list.
Mostly. Okay, where's
I
the
don't
problems?
I don't like where Fury are. I do feel like that's too high.
Why?
I do feel like that's too high. In a power rank, in a power sense, I guess I can see it. But you say they've only been eliminated by Vitality so
Yes.
far since Blast London. Yep. That is a fact. That is impressive. Who have they eliminated? What's the flip side? Who have they beaten?
In the playoffs?
I don't think they haven't played Spirit. They've played Falcons. They haven't played Mouse. They haven't played G2 in a playoff game. They haven't played Aurora. So, like, for me, it's like they haven't played Spirit. They haven't played Mouse. I have to drop them down a bit just on that. I don't know if
the fact that they haven't played some of these teams is mostly because those teams haven't met them. They can't have beaten Spirit in a playoff game in that run because Spirit haven't been alive in playoffs to play them. Like, Spirit have either not attended events, missed playoffs, or lost in the first round to FaZe. So what are they supposed to do? Like, in that sense, I can't punish them for that. There's no reason to punish them for that.
I think I might drop Spirit down as well, but like it's difficult for me to put them above Mouse. Mouse is maybe the primary one, to be honest. Mouse is maybe the primary one. Because it just feels like, how can you be above Mouse when Mouse are so consistent and when Mouse have been so good?
Because you win stuff. Mouse don't win stuff. They win games. They make great upsets happen. They make constant top fours, occasional constant grand finals. They are a really good playoff Counter-Strike team, and I love watching them play. They're going to win an event that isn't weakened, pre-dampened. No, that's just the reality we live in. So I can't put Mouse above them when Fury actually have gone and won 2 events. How can I give them credit as winners? Ultimately, that's what matters to me. You got to win events. Mouse don't win shit. They've proved that all year. They won 1 title, which was a layup. Other than that, they have been disappointing when it comes to the big match. Furia,
right,
make it happen. And sure, against Na'Vi, it took a minor miracle. Against Mongols, it was a brawl, it was a war, but they still made it happen. Mouse, they just lose. And so that's why they're not even top 3.
Where would Mongols be if it wasn't for the Senzu thing?
It'd be a difficult conversation to have, because you could put them, I think you could comfortably put them 2, 3, 4. Either any of those spots, you would have to justify it. I obviously don't have to, because the move did happen. So I don't have to put them in any of those spots specifically and justify it.
Right.
But I could see myself putting them, I think I'd most likely have them at 3, Spirit down at 4, Mouse down at 5, Falcons down at 6, shift everything over 1. That's probably where I have them. But currently, no Senzu, no party. I don't trust 910. I don't trust Techno for love nor I don't trust Techno in the slightest. I still think Mazzinho isn't there yet. I just don't have it. So, yeah.
It makes sense. It makes sense. It is pretty recent for Fury, I will also say. It does feel like a little bit recent because you're talking about since Blast London. That is coming up on being 2 months away, and before that, it was a very different Fury, I feel like.
It's still a very good Fury.
Still a very good Fury, but they weren't really making playoffs. They weren't really doing these things. I don't know. It's tricky because there's been a bit of a shift. I feel like Mongols pre-Senzu would be above Fury, I feel like. Even if they have beaten them, but it just feels so weird. Do you think Furia would beat Spirit or Mouse in a best of 5 tomorrow?
Tomorrow?
Today, even. If it happened right now, if there was a best of 5, Furia against Spirit or Mouse.
Based on the evidence I have currently, if there's a title on the line, they're beating Mouse.
Yep.
And if they're playing Spirit, who last time I watched Spirit play got 2-0 by FaZe. Yeah, give me Furia right now. Right now. If I'm just using the last time I saw them play. I don't think that's ridiculous.
No, I don't. I'm not sure it is. There's one team I kind of want to move upwards on a vibe.
Yeah, give it.
And that's Na'Vi.
Okay, they beat Aurora. They beat the Mongols. Those are their big wins.
Yeah, they played close playoff wins as well. Close playoff losses as well. They beat Mongols twice, I should say, in playoffs, by the way.
Yeah, they beat the Pro League too, didn't they? Yeah.
And in Cologne, notably as well. They had a close playoff loss in Cologne against Spirit, a close playoff loss against Mouse in Pro League, and a very close grand final loss to Furia. I do feel like that puts them above G2, who haven't really even been there since they won Blast Open London, in my opinion. And it might, maybe Aurora as well. In any case, I would put them above Mongols because they did beat Mongols twice pre the Senzu move, and now with the Senzu move, Senzu's out.
No, I think that's a pretty valid take. I actually think that's pretty valid.
Mongols, honestly, if I'm gonna judge where I think Mongols gonna be without Senzu, I could put them behind FaZe. I could put them outside of this and move 3 max in. I do think if I'm judging where are Mongols gonna be with Control-less instead of Senzu. Fuck yeah, they're out of the top 10. I don't feel like they're then 3D Max are getting put in 100%. But I'd move Na'Vi up. I I'd probably say Mouse number 2. To be honest, I would probably say Mouse number 2 and just move Furia and Spirit down a bit, and maybe move G2 down a peg as well behind Aurora. Because while Aurora aren't really winning anything, and G2 are, G2 also after their win they haven't really done too much. I don't think they were even in Pro League playoffs. I don't think they were even in yeah.
Well, they were in Pro League playoffs.
They just lost in the first game.
No, they were stage 1. That's why I'm seeing 2 Pro Leagues. Yeah, no, they did miss Pro League playoffs with 3 straight kind of bad losses, to be honest. But yeah.
Yeah, and Fisher Playground, they also went in and lost immediately in the playoffs. It's I'd move it on. It's super tricky because I could also see your version. I see your rationale here, and I do feel like it. Yeah, it makes sense. It does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, because when G2 beat Vitality to win Blast Open London, I can't then be like, Vitality's the number 1 team, and G2 can sit down at 8th because they've only beat Vitality in a best of 5. I mean, how could I give them credit for that? I mean, come on, guys.
But I also Navi, I feel like just in the way those games went, in the fashion, some of those games went, those playoff games and those playoff losses, I kind of want to move Navi up a peg as well. So yeah, it's and Aurora is always so tricky. Aurora feel a little bit like Baby Mouse because they should be in playoffs, and they usually are in playoffs, and sometimes they beat a team, but they don't go deep.
Aurora?
Yeah, Aurora, it's like they're up there.
There's no world where I can put Aurora higher than 7th right now. Like, none at all. Like, I have nothing to rely on to give them that kind of credit. Like, they can make playoffs at a lot of events, sure, when those events have a nice setup bracket where they don't have to face multiple of the top teams to make playoffs. But as soon as they do need to actually struggle to make playoffs, like Pro League, they fail. Like, they lost to Furo, they lost to FaZe, they lost to Navi at that event. Hell, they've lost to multiple teams behind them at that point, and I'm still giving them some credit. I still feel like I'm being real generous here. So
yeah,
I can't get behind the idea of moving Aurora up.
See the fact that no, I think they on my list. I think they stay 7th, but they get overtaken by Navi because G2. No, actually, they might go 8th even because Navi go up. That might be it. I don't know. Mongoose. Honestly, Mongoose might be. If I'm projecting, based on what they have done, they are top 3 for me. But like they're above Furia. I think they're my number 2 based on what they have done recently. They're my number 2, and Furia number 3, and then Spirit are number 4. But like if I'm projecting where I think they are right now without Senzu and with Control-less, the fucking 29-year-old who hasn't. Let's be honest, he didn't do anything on Genghis Warriors whatsoever. No, I'm putting them out of the top 10. I don't think they make major playoffs. I'm not even sure if they survive. Into the final Swiss game. I feel like it's such a hit. And unless they do some clever role reshuffling where like Techno or Mezzinho can take over those rifle spots that Senzu was having and actually perform in there, and like 9-10 actually becomes good. Jesus Christ.
So I think part of the reason why I have them at 8 is I think I have more faith in this team to figure out a way and bounce back than you might. Considering they have still got Mezzinho and Techno who are sharp, and Mezzinho especially, who I think is incredibly like potent as an aimer. They have 9-10 who's inconsistent and a problem, but still able to win maps. And Blitz as a fragging IGL's had a bit of a slump, but I think 100% can come back. I don't think it's unreasonable to have them still have some hope until we see it fail. Like to still have them in the top 10 till we see them physically play with controls and be bad. Because there's a chance they're not. I mean, all of a sudden he comes in, he can play some roles, he can do some bitch work, he can throw some flashes. I get more out of Techno, which I still don't think will be a lot. I get a lot more out of Mezzinho. I think this team's all of a sudden not necessarily good, but not the dire mess that, well, you've painted them to be by that sort of fall off where they're outside the top 10. I still think holding them at 8 is fair. Maybe I've been a bit harsh to Navi in this one. That might be the most valid concern we have, but pretty much everywhere else I'm still happy with where I have people.
Yeah, Navi is like, I also see them, I could see them being 9th because they at the same time they don't win those games.
Yeah, they're also
but they also play pretty well.
They're really not convincing when they win, to be honest.
No. But they did beat Mongols quite a few times, and like they did beat a Mongols that I considered to be a top 3 team, and they did that twice. So that's sort of why I feel like they need to move up. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, the Power 10. Let's get back to the main topics at hand. This time, not player mental health, but player base mental health. The Skin Armageddon. What on earth just happened to our scene? We were once a great esport, focused on the things that mattered, like knives, float values, case-hardened patterns, and other such nonsense. But now, people seem to care about playing the game, about how the normal player could afford to buy a knife. Like, what is going on? I'm so confused. I thought we were this sort of weird sort of portfolio for the Chinese man. I thought that's what Counter-Strike was as a game. But clearly Valve have other things in mind. So Quacker, could you explain this to me? Like, why the hell do Valve think they can crash our precious market like this? And when will China recover?
I don't know. It's a huge situation. The market cap dropped so hard. It's the biggest. Percentually it's a bigger market crash than any stock market crash in the whole world. So yeah, it's bigger than all those like percentage wise. But like the ramifications of this are kind of unknown. We actually don't really know. It's insane. Sorry, I just got a DM which kind of threw me off. Which I need to sort of center myself. That's why I'm sort of out of it. Fuck.
Guys, get him an agent so someone else can run his fucking socials.
Yeah, I can't be
so
reading my DMs.
So you can pay attention to the fucking stream.
Can't be reading my DMs.
You know, just close your fucking DMs. We're live.
Yeah, I do need to. Holy shit. Fucking. They made knives trade upable, which means that all the knives are now much cheaper because they're easier to get. They shouldn't be this much cheaper if you do the math on it. Like, how many knives could you trade up for? Like, how much more common are knives? The price is dropped by 50%, which would imply that they're twice as available as they were before, which they aren't. If you traded up every single red skin in existence, you would only double the amount of knives in circulation. So a 50% price drop doesn't really make sense. So yeah, it's fucking, I don't know.
So the initial reaction to this was, of course, hysteria, panic on the streets, people burning their cars and throwing bricks at houses. You know, the classic natural reaction to pixels changing value on a theoretical market. There were some very serious overreactions when we found out that people in China have been literally using Counter-Strike skins as a sort of like replacement for the gold standard or something. Like, they've been investing all their money, all their savings into skins, which is ridiculous in its own right. But it has led to some pretty dire consequences. How much of that was bait? How much of that wasn't bait? Some people are convinced that at least one person has done the unthinkable over this sort of market crash, but it just shows how fiscally irresponsible people have been when it comes to Counter-Strike. These are not stocks. These are not bonds. These are not anything of any real value. They are skins. And people have gone crazy over this. Now, I've seen some reactions that were just straight up nonsense. I've seen some people talk about this as though Valve are going to lose a bunch of money. I don't think those people thought that through. Those were just your classic panic reactions from people who are degenerately involved in something. It's like when every time that someone's bet fails, they call the other team a cheater, a hacker, or they say the player they bet on is throwing the game. It's the same sort of thing. It's a very volatile, very emotional overreaction that doesn't really reflect the reality of it. In reality, what this has done is bring knife prices down, red skin prices up. It means a lot of knife prices are now in Steam market trade range, because there's a cap on how much you can actually sell something for on the Steam market, if I'm not going crazy.
Yeah.
And it also means that more people are going to be buying red skins. So if anything, this has increased how much money Valve make, not decreased. You've increased the number of skin transactions on the community market, Valve make more money. So that was a complete misread by some people who just, I think, lost the plot. And
yeah,
the real takeaway from all of this is that you shouldn't be just wasting your money.
Exactly what I was going to say, yeah.
On skins. They are not assets.
They're not assets, and you shouldn't be treating this as a... I would say, like, I'm not going to say you shouldn't be treating this as an investment market. If you have the money to like have some fun with this, yeah, you can make some extra money. Like, if there is a legitimate enjoyment to be had in and some small money to be made in being good at trading, or big money if you get really lucky. But you shouldn't do that because the risk is pretty big, and people are saying, "Oh, Valve have this change means that everybody's going to lose trust in the market." There was no trust in the market. This is not a stock market. No, there was no market. Like, this is not a stock market. It's a community market, and it's like there is no trust in the market because you are entirely beholden to this company. And yeah, just don't do that. But yeah, it's a big change. I do feel for I do feel like, okay, if you lost a significant money on this, then it's like a lot of the time when people lose a lot of money that they had invested in something here and there, it's usually not their fault that they don't know what they're doing. It's this stuff can be pretty complex, but just please be responsible with this stuff. I also like don't feel any sympathy for people who invest in this stuff and be like, I lost $10,000 overnight. This is so bullshit. It's like, no, you should have known this was a risk. You should have known that this was a risk. And yeah, it's like, I bought a cheap knife. I got to buy a cheap knife. I've never had a knife in my life, and I was like, this is literally the only time in probably my entire life going forward when a CS:GO knife is going to be below 100 euros. So I was like, hey, let's go.
Here's the thing, actually. Jade brings up something that I think I might be going crazy here, but look, I don't think you're in the minority of people, Jade. As in, comment being, for those who are not watching with live chat, I'm in the minority of people who made a little bit of money off the update. I'm willing to bet more people, as in if the total player base had a single red skin, like I did, or a small number of red skins, than any number of knives.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's reflective of the actual player base to expect the majority of people to have had knives, especially people to have had a collection of knives that would have lost them all this money. Like, I'd say the majority of players, like the average player, maybe made 15, 20 quid. Like, their inventory value went up 15, 20 quid because they had a red skin that all of a sudden is worth £50 to these nut jobs who went and traded them up into knives because they were crazy, or going super into it.
Yeah.
And then again, theoretical value. Thanks for pointing that out, John. Like, yes, this is all theoretical value. None of this is realized gains and losses. So I do think the majority of the reaction is obviously hyperbolic and ridiculous. And for me, I made 25 quid. I sold a FAMAS for a bonus.
Yeah.
Like, that's all that happened. I think that's the majority of players. And so the reaction has been obviously from the vocal degenerate minority.
At the moment, my inventory is up. Even with buying a knife, at the moment, my inventory is up. Because the cases, most of my inventory is cases. I don't care a lot about skins. So most of my inventory is cases that I get dropped for free, and eventually I can sell and I can buy some games. I have bought some as well that I like, because that's a part of CS investing that I think is actually kind of fun. You buy cases, you don't do anything for 5 years, and then you can sell them and you can buy GTA 6. But like, the cases dipped, they went right back up again, and then I'd already bought the dip, and I didn't have any red skins to sell, and I also had no knife to lose value on. So yeah, I'm up. It's a wild situation. I don't think long term it's gonna have that big of a consequence. I feel like a lot of this is, like I said, the amount stuff dipped by is too big to be like logical considering what the actual change was. So I think a lot of that was simply just panic selling, where it was like, I feel like we need to go out. We need to. People felt like they needed to sell their stuff off because they felt like the skin market was dying. I think that's why the crash happened. So for that, it's like I think that's going to recover. I'm not sure we're going to reach the same levels again. I'm not sure we're going to reach the same like at all the same level. And but we're going to recover more or less. And most of the stuff, most of the items that you have in your inventory, dear viewer, will probably be back to the value that they had in a while, a couple of months, maybe a year. So
yeah, so the exact sort of reality we're in. I talked about this very quickly on my video last week.
yeah,
We had a price for knives, a price for the average redskin. This update caused everything to do this, but then it's realistically just going to come back to about there. That's it. Like, we're just going to go down a bit on knife prices, up a bit on redskin prices, and that's where things are going to settle. We're going to reach another sort of equilibrium. These things always do. Where, yes, if you had a shit ton of money invested into knives, you will have lost some theoretical value. That's it. That's all that will have realistically changed. It was a much ado about nothing type situation, as it always is with Counter-Strike and with everything. There's always a bunch of reactionary, incendiary sort of comments, tweets, complaints. But then, nothing ever happens. Nothing ever happens.
Yeah. Nothing ever happens. But hey, it's cool. Like, it's pretty cool that, $3 billion just disappeared like that. And we were there to see it. We were there to see it.
I mean, fake 3 billion.
Fake 3 billion. It's so fake. Doesn't exist. Fuck it.
No, money has never been real. Not since we came off the gold standard. It's all fake. Burn the banks. Anyway.
Yeah.
Let's get back into some more current things. Actually, I'm not sure how current this is. Let's get into something maybe spicy. I don't even know what the hell we're talking about here. It's Cock of the Week, which is not my segment. It is, of course, everyone's favorite segment, the only segment with an intro theme song. Listen to it closely and sing along if you know the words in chat. There you go. Magnificent. Quacker. What is going on here? I haven't even checked this link. What's happened?
This is a Counter-Strike event. This is an event in the country of Georgia, which is called... I don't know what it's called. I didn't actually know what it's called. It's held in Tbilisi in Georgia. And it's going to happen at the end of November.
Exo
Why
Masters.
are they... Thank you. Why are they Cock of the Week? Because they have an open qualifier held now at the start of November. I think sign up was going to either start or end. I was going to start November 3rd, I think. So it's a little ways out. It's an open qualifier. Anyone can sign up, provided you pay the entry fee of $999 to play for a qualifier to maybe go to a LAN event in Tbilisi in Georgia with a 10,000, sorry, maybe 20,000 prize pool, because they upped it, I think. So yeah, it's a 64. There's 64 slots in the open qualifier. In theory, they could make $64,000 off of the entry fees, and the event itself will pay out a prize pool of, I think it was up to $20,000. So it's a little bit up. It's a little bit up. They are Cock of the Week because what the fuck are you doing? what the fuck? Which team is gonna pay $1,000 to play an open qualifier?
Let's put it this way, actually. You know what? I think this is brilliant. I think this is brilliant. As a TO, congratulations. You've made the best move I've ever seen any TO make. Because not only one have you pissed off everyone, which naturally you do anytime you ask anyone to pay for anything in life, but two, you've actually figured out a way to not get completely scammed as a TO in terms of the amount of money you have to invest to just maybe get some viewership for some sponsors. I kind of like this. Think about this. Per team, you're spending $200 a player. $200 a player. You spend, like, as an org, usually, what? Multiple thousands per month per player just to get them to play for you? You're telling me you wouldn't spend $200 a player just to get them into a VRS ranked event? I don't think this is a terrible idea. I don't think this is even that crazy. I don't even think it's that egregious. Like, I genuinely think this is kind of smart. Now, is it ridiculous to then have BO1s? Yes. To then expect people to go into the chaos of MR12 BO1s? Yeah, for that, they deserve to be called Cock of the Week, because why the hell are you doing that? It's just ridiculous, the reaction to this. Like, I was expecting it to be way worse when I looked into it, and it's really not that deep. Like, it's not that deep. It's cocky in the Cock of the Week sense, but it's not that bad.
I honestly think it is that bad, because honestly, I don't even really care, because it doesn't really matter that much, because you don't have to play the event. Like, no team is forced to go into this event and play
no one is forced to play this at all.
I mostly feel like, it's Cock of the Week, because what the fuck is this business decision? Nobody's gonna sign up for this LAN.
Has anyone?
Nobody.
That's the real question.
I think registration was gonna open in a couple of days, so I don't think anybody has been able to yet.
When is the actual Masters event? The LAN finals are November 24th.
Yes, there's a thing about that as well. There's a thing about the dates as well. So November 24th to 26th is the LAN finals in Tbilisi in Georgia. I think it's literally 2 days after that. We have DreamHack Stockholm, where we have, I think it's called Knockout, DreamHack Knockout, which is a BIOC LAN qualifier for ESL Pro League, which I think is also going to have more of a prize pool. Like, it's so like, who do you think? Like, you're not going to go to Tbilisi to just a day later land in Stockholm and play a different LAN. I think most teams are going to pick one or the other. Second thing, the online qualifier is held a day after Red Bull Journey, which is in Åre in Sweden. It's 2 days after the event, but it's 1 day after the actual LAN, which I think most or all teams are going to stay for. And Åre is a little bit tricky to get there. Like, it's basically like it is a full day travel for somebody like BC Game to go there and back. So that's where the online qualifier is. I'm pretty sure like a team like BC Game is not going to play this online open qualifier, if that's who you were hoping to pay $1,000 to come in. And like, I do just think it's silly. It's double elimination, best of one until qualifying matches. Top 16 advance to the main stage. You only break even playing this LAN if you finish top 8 out of 64.
Yeah, which is so top 16. So there's no invite to this event. There's no
invites. It's all open qualifiers.
Even better. Like, this is even better. There's no. This is the scam is even weaker than first proposed. Like, you're telling me top 16 make the main event? Like, everyone at the event makes it through the qualifier. A 64 team qualifier. Again, the BO1 is the only thing I currently have a problem with is the BO1. The only thing I currently have a problem with is the BO1.
64 slots in the open qualifier, top 16 make it through to the event. I'm pretty sure you won't have 16 teams signing up for the open qualifier after paying the entry fee. So probably the open qualifier just doesn't happen, and they just put everybody into the main event. Or it just happens and it's just seeding games. It's such a stupid business.
This is great.
I can't fathom who's going to pay it. Who's going to pay for it? Who is going to pay $1,000?
Remember, we're talking about $1,000 here. Think about the average team's wage bill. A team that pays wages. Think about how much the average team's wage bill every fucking month is just to play CCT open qualifiers. Like, realistically, is $1,000 that egregious? Are we actually insane? $1,000 is. I could pay a team's $1,000 entry fee right now.
Of course you could.
Like,
of course you could.
It's not that crazy a price if I'm running.
But
a team.
you're paying $1,000 for the chance to go to LAN. Like, for the chance. If it was $1,000 to show up for a BIOC, then yeah, fuck yeah, do it. But for some reason they've done it this way around, which is like you're paying to play a best of one open qualifier for $1,000.
I still don't like the best ones.
Yeah, and I'll also say, depending on I don't feel like anybody's going to show up. Like, which is like their target.
So then, yeah, they're fucked. But maybe they got the pricing wrong. They should have put it at 500, made it 128 team. But still, like, I think this is a pretty smart way to do this.
Look, you could have everything unchanged and just remove the open qualifier and just say it's BIOC. We have 32 slots. Whoever wants, or 16 slots. First come, first serve. Pay $1,000. Show up in Georgia. That would have been fine.
Would it?
It is such a shitty business decision. Their rationale, one of the guys who was hosting it was actually in Liquidpedia's Discord.
Hello? Oh, bloody...
I was trying to talk fast so I could, because it beeped, and I was like, "Fuck." Um, no, this should have just been a BIOC. The people who were organizing this were actually in Liquipedia's Discord when it got announced, so they got some questions, and they were like, "How the fuck do you justify this entry fee?" And it's like, we have no sponsors. It's like, oh, okay. They have no sponsors. That's why they need a big entry fee. Yeah, but like, just get a sponsor. Like,
Forehead, just get a sponsor. Just get a sponsor, you spastic. Why don't you just go get a sponsor? My God, what are you Reddit? What do you mean just go get a sponsor?
Host a LAN if you can't pay for it yourself.
But you have a business model that could work to allow you to host the LAN. You ask teams to pay. They don't want to pay. The business model doesn't work. You don't try it again. What is wrong with them trying it? I don't understand. How entitled and stupid is everyone? Like, what do you mean? Why can't they try this? This is perfectly valid. If you have no sponsorship, you need to pay every team's fees to attend the event. You need to hire the arena staff, rent the arena, get PCs. You need to do all of that. Why not? Why not ask for a sign-up fee as a way to do it if you can't afford a sponsor?
No, the sign-up fee is fine, but they're doing it for you're paying for nothing. You're paying for next to nothing. You could have just made it a BIOC. That's exactly what I mentioned. Red Bull Journey. That's exactly what they're doing. You pay an entry fee to go there.
So people bring a PC, show up to Tbilisi in general, put it down in the street and just start playing video games.
There's a venue, but like,
you then
why
do
they need the open qualifier?
Because they want to make it a real event. As in, they want to be able to... The reason they have this open qualifier with £1,000 is because they want to make a real event. I think that's the entire reason. Because they don't want to make a BIOC. They don't want random 5 Georgian dudes show up with PCs, pay $50 entry fee, and get smashed 15, 16-0, 13-0, whatever you want to... in the day it was 16, 30, or 30 zeros. I've seen some BO1s be played out back in 1.6. This is a joke sort of event. Let's be real. You're not being taken seriously. They've called themselves X-Zone Masters, for crying out loud. You can't be X-Zone Masters and have some cunt show up, pay his 50 quid, and just get battered by NIP. It's not much of a mastership. I think this is a perfectly fair attempt to make an event work in a very unique way. If it fails, so be it. The market's not there for it. Move on. Like, I just don't see how this, of all the things that happened in the last week, is cock of the week. Like, this is... I think it's a bit exaggerated.
Shitty business move. And I don't know... I'm a businessman.
It's their business.
I take these things very seriously.
They've not taken anyone else's money. They're not scamming anyone. They have very clearly pointed out how this works. And if you don't want to, just don't.
I think what they also pointed out is
I
think what they also pointed out, they're not... you're paying $1,000 for the entry fee into the online qualifier, and if you qualify, you also pay for travel and accommodation to Georgia, which is actually, here I'll say, for a $20,000 LAN, that should be expected. We're paying that, and we have a similar price pool. We're paying for our travel and accommodation for Svenska Cupen.
Are they not?
No, they're not. They said they were not.
Oh,
you're paying even more.
Okay, that's retarded.
You cannot break... It's physically impossible to go to this LAN and break even, because you're paying $1,000 entry fee, and then you're probably paying more than $7,000 for travel and accommodation. You can only make $8,000 if you win the event. That's what you're winning.
I did not realize they were not paying for accommodation.
I'm 100% sure they said that they are not. Yeah.
If they're not paying for accommodation and travel, then of course this is all stupid. Like, what? If you're going to charge $64,000 for people to attend your $20,000 LAN, that $44,000 is for the rest of the logistics. It can't be, we wanted to make $44,000. It has to be the renting of the arena. It has to be, arena. It's going to be a tiny LAN cafe from what I can tell. The paying for hotels or hostels or whatever it has to be to make you be able to afford it. Like, the flights, all that stuff. That's what you should be paying for. If you're going to charge people to sign up.
Yeah, no.
It's stupid.
They're paying for
but I still think there's going to be, like, watch. Let me predict some teams that have signed up. Let me try and guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hear me out. I think there's a chance Kono might have signed up for this.
Really?
I think it's a chance.
There's a chance, yeah.
I think 500 might have signed up for this.
Yeah.
Like, talking about these teams in like the sort of 40 to 70 range who don't have the cheesy land wins to get themselves up in VRS. Let me see who else is in that sort of range. Give me...
AAB would be kind of on brand. The Danish team.
If they have the money. Or Sashi, you know, if they have the money.
I don't think they have the money, but it's exactly the kind of thing they would do.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. It's something they would do.
Yeah. Well, that I'm saying is...
your target was BC Game. Like, BC Game have stupid fuck you money. BC Game could sign up for this and just go flying up the rankings when they win. They won't, because they still Delulu. But if they did, they could just go up 40 slots. Like, not 40, but like they go up like 20 spots in VRS just signing up for this and winning it for $1,000. So I'm sorry, 1/30th of Simple's monthly salary to sign up for this event. 1/30th. And then another 30th to get everyone there. And then another 30th to get everyone in a hotel room. I'm sorry, BC Game. Financial decision,
right? The thing is,
you can afford this.
Again, before you do all that, you also have to win a bunch of best of ones. Yeah. So you also have to.
You can speculate with $1,000 when you're giving 30 plus of it to Simple a month. I'm sorry, that's the boat they're in. They can speculate $1,000.
All right, yeah, fair. So we're up to Sashi, BC Game, 500. Because the thing is, you're not even getting the bottom end of it all. You're not even getting you're not gonna have 5 random Orglass players who make a Faceit mix and sign up for the open qualifier, because they're not going to pay $1,000.
You could. If there's someone who thinks, like you, no one's going to sign up for this, we'll get in for free. I have $1,000. You have $1,000. You're telling me there's no one that's going to sign up for this and on the risk that right like that?
We'll put together a team. We'll pay the entry fee, 50-50. You and me, all right? We'll get 3 players and we'll play this qualifier, all right?
Me play.
Hell yeah!
Hello,
we'll get him for
GM/caster. I will not be playing. Because if we do attend, I'll then have to go to Tbilisi just to play the game that I'm really shit at right now. Jade's in. All right, cool. We got another player. Jade can take my spot on the team. Jade is literally better than me, so that's great. Like, get Jade on the team.
Yeah. I heard Passion UA are not going, so Monster can come coach us.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's honestly not that terrible of a business model. And guess what? If it fails, who lost? They did. No one else.
True.
Now, I do think it's stupid that they're not paying for accommodation. I do think it's stupid they're not paying for flights. I do think that's an oversight. But love it.
All right, fair. Fair point.
That was not a conversation anyone was expecting to happen today.
No.
Me coming out in defense of this ridiculous idea, but I think it's great.
I don't think we've had this big of a defense of a Cock of the Week before.
No, because usually Cock of the Week is pretty... It's either hilariously egregious, because it's like, I don't know, random guy on Twitter says women aren't humans or something, or it's, this was kind of not good, and I'm like, yeah, I guess it was kind of not good, and that's Cock of the Week. So...
Yeah.
I guess that was it. Our next topic, weirdly enough... I didn't see it in time in the show notes and didn't make a lower third for it. So, ESL Impact Finals does not have a lower third, and I feel like such a twat. Speaking of, guy on Twitter says women are not real people. Yeah.
I can be the lower third if I just sit down here, but hello guys, I'm the lower third. ESL Impact Finals, they're going to be happening. And we know who's going to play, because all the groups wrapped up this weekend, Friday and Saturday, I think, were the final games. So, I'm going to tell you who went through, because the admins didn't tell the players. That was the thing. In the European group, it took like an hour before they knew who actually got out, who actually got into the play-in because of the tiebreak. And I was like, I figured it out in half a second who was going to go through. Like the players were tweeting, we've qualified, because they looked at the HLTV group and they had the better round difference. And it's like, I'm sorry, that's not the case. And yeah, awkward. Anyway, who's through? Group winners. Group A, NIP Impact, swept the group 5-0, didn't drop a map. Was probably like pretty much always going to happen. There's nobody in this group who was anywhere near as strong as NIP Impact were, and we're going to see why I say that in a second. Second group, Group B, winner, Big Equipa, swept the group, didn't lose a single map, including 2 Imperial Valkyries. Emson is winning ESL Impact. Like, this is happening. This is happening. Big Equipa are so good right now. NIP and Big Equipa are 100% favorites to win in the grand final. Through in the play-in, Overpeak and Imperial Valkyries, both of them came from Big Equipa's Group B, and they beat the teams, like the play-in teams from Group A, which is why I feel like Group A was very weak. Because, like, okay, so 3 teams from one of the groups is going through, but only 1 from the other. All right, yeah, that second group was probably a bit more balanced. But that's the European teams. There's nobody really noteworthy who's missing out. Peekaboo are missing with Letty, Anielka, Hikomi, and Julie, and Naila, which I feel like is pretty notable. Overpeak as well have a bunch of Russian players who missed out. Vispel, Irbitka, Sosia, for example. And I don't think we had a big... Well, Letter Cook were missing out, but they've also... That roster is not the same as the one we had before. So, yeah. Nemesis Impact didn't even get the chance to play in with your favorite players. Monkey D. Julie, Keode, and Raquel.
Well, they were betrayed by Astra, so, you know, how is it supposed to get out?
Yeah. Well, they had Giuliano.
Exactly.
Hey, come on. That's royalty. Anyway, that's the European group. That's the European group. I'll just quickly gloss over the North American group. It's unfortunately not that interesting. They had 2 spots and they have 2 good teams. FlyQuest Red won 7-0, notably beating Shimmer for the first place spot in the final game, but Shimmer went 6-1. So Shimmer being the old Supernova Comets. I always say Party Astronauts, but that's a different North American team. Supernova Comets. So Shimmer went through. Ghost finished 3rd, which is... I'd say probably should have been the 3rd best team, and they were the 3rd best team. So, yeah. But FlyQuest Red and Shimmer are going to the playoffs. And then we only have the South American, and this is where it gets interesting, because Kingt, pop quiz.
You sent me a fucking essay and a half about this, yeah.
Hell yeah. Pop quiz. Who won the last Impact season?
It's Furia, yeah?
Yes, and they finished 3rd on tiebreak. This was insane. So MIBR, Fury FE, and a team called Atrix with, I don't know these players. Do you, like, Regian, Bokor, Little Z, Sophia XYZ, and 11. Do you know any of those players?
I feel like Little Z rings a bell, but maybe it's just a similar name to a different player. Little Z, maybe. Yeah, she was on MIBRFE, she was on Oplano, maybe I recognize that name, but just recognize the name, not exactly like, this is a world beater that I've definitely heard of.
Yeah, no. Because MIBR and Furia, they have a couple of like and 4 Magic was a different team, they also had some ex-MIBR players and stuff like that, but Atrix just kind of came out of nowhere. And they are all on 6-1, because Furia beat MIBR, Atrix beat Furia, and MIBR beat Atrix. So how was this resolved? Well, Atrix won their final game against 4 Magic, and they did that in 2-0 fashion while the MIBR and Furia game was ongoing on Friday. And we already knew before the MIBR Furia game was over that Atrix and MIBR were through, because MIBR won a map. And that's the difference here. The fact MIBR took a map off of Furia FE in the final game means that Furia end up with a -1 map difference between these 3 teams, because they lost 2-0 to Atrix. They beat MIBR 2-1. That's a -1 map difference in those 3 games. That's the tiebreaker, which puts the reigning champions out of the playoff event. In fucking insane. So, MIBR are through. Atrix are through. MIBR have Olga. Olga is with MIBR now. I think that was a transfer which happened in the summer, I think, to be honest.
Yeah, we talked about it. We talked about her coming back from HSG, finally back in Brazil. Probably loaded up on some cash, but then, you know, come and win some stuff.
Yeah, she's been great. She's won 18 so far in 22 maps. So let's see what she does in the final. But yeah, the reigning champions won't be able to defend their title. Imperial Valkyries are weakened. And you have 2 really strong European teams in NIP Impact and Big Equipa. This is going to be a really exciting finish to the final ESL Impact season. And that's going to be exciting. And that's why I'm going. I'm going to go there. I'm going to be there.
So, here's my, as usual, complaint. dramatic finish. Comes down to the last. We have now got, in terms of North America, we have a team who are legitimately threatening in Shimmer, who've actually achieved some stuff. We have
silver medalists last season, yeah.
Yeah, they were second place in the last Impact. We have a FlyQuest Red team who still beat them, so they're clearly got some game to them. I mean, sure, they always collapse on LAN when they come to the international play, but domestically, they're still very strong. MIBR and Atrix come out of the most competitive, the second most competitive region probably, but still, given they had the champion in theirs, like insane levels of competition, they come out of that.
Yeah.
And of course, Europe is still the pride and joy of Counter-Strike, and 4 teams come through, and all 4 look really good. Maybe Overpeak is the least exciting, but that's just on name recognition more than anything, really. Like, come on. They still finished top 3, 3-2, the same record as Imperial FE. They beat Flame Sharks with some really strong, like CIS or Russian-speaking players. Not sure how to refer to them now. They are still also very threatening. This is going to be a brawl, a bloodbath.
Yeah.
How good do you think the promo and content's going to be for this?
Fuck all.
It's going to be garbage. This is going to be the best piece of promo the fucking Impact Finals receive.
Yeah.
And no one's going to watch, and it's going to die with a whimper. Despite theoretically having some of the best FECS we're going to see in a long time. Like, in terms of competitiveness, in terms of all 8 of these teams should be here. It's not just regions that allow them to qualify. These are genuinely good Counter-Strike teams who are going to play, well, to the death, really. It's going to be, a brutal sort of way to say goodbye, because someone's going to finish last place in each group. I mean, we do have it's still a 4-team playoff, despite a fake decider match. So, whatever. But it's going to be a really tough sort of group to get out of, no matter what you end up playing. So, yeah, can't wait to see this. It's actually going to be a pretty good event. It's a shame this is how it ends.
Yeah. I think if it's seeded on VRS order, which it should be, I think MIBR end up being, the seeding should be MIBR, FlyQuest Red, NIP Impact. As the thing stands right now, and there might be an update to the official ranking based on the group stage games. So MIBR get top seed. So we should see MIBR and NIP in the same group, I think, if I'm reading this correctly. And then Imperial as well in that group. That's insane. If MIBR, NIP, and Imperial end up in the same group, that would be a crazy finish. But yeah, that's gonna be exciting. I'm hoping to go. I'm hoping to be able to go there. But it's a budget thing, obviously. But I hope it's gonna be fine. So yeah.
Well, it's Stockholm. You'll find a way.
I'll find a way.
Yeah. But okay, yeah, that's the Impact Finals with our bootlegged fucking graphic that I managed to whip up. Doesn't look great, but hey, it'll do. That brings us into, speaking of incoming arguments, the Retake Games. Quack Gear, what do you have ready this week?
I have another hot or cold, and I was gonna pick somebody at the start of the show. Let me just try to figure something out. So it could be a player or a team, for those who don't know the game. I'm going to pick a player or a team, and he has 15 questions to guess who it is. Or rather, you have 15 guesses. You're going to name something. Could be anything. And I'll give you a score from 0 to 100 based on how close that guess is. And based on that, you are going to make your way towards what I have picked. So, I have a pick. I have an item. I have a team or a player.
Okay. I'm going to use my world-renowned and infallible method of describing physical features. So let's go with... Now, if I can't do it on the basis of skin tone, because I'll immediately get called racist. So I have to go with the classic hair color / hair availability metric. So let's say, okay, theoretical quality of mohawk. Now, so you know
what the fuck?
So how banger of a mohawk could this guy have if he wanted to style it that way? You know what I mean? Like,
Okay, hang on.
Right now, how good a quality mohawk could he have? Like, that's my question. Like theoretical mohawk quality. Now, if it's a team and you've got to average out across 5 players, then fuck it, it's useless. But I'm hoping it's a player.
I don't even really know how. How would you do that? Could I have one? I'll just ask that. Could I make a mohawk out of this?
100%. You got hair, and like it's fairly long. It's fairly long. Like
Yeah, you just need a lot of product. All right.
Like you need to just spike it. Just spike it.
49.
49. So there's some hair there. Not a baldy, unless it's a team and we're averaging, in which case we'll get to that.
That's insane. That's an insane guess who question. Do you...
Yeah, feeling a little special today. Okay. Okay, so second question. Black hair. Trying to eliminate my blondes if they're not needed.
Oh, okay. I'll give you a 30.
30?
Yeah.
30, okay, so Mongols, bye-bye. Honestly, the Vitality are a dark-haired group, but you might call them brunettes because you're weird, so we'll leave them there.
How would you score Mongols' ability to get mohawks?
Honestly, as a team, their potential mohawk score would be really high. Like, they've got a lot of hair. Like, that'd be like a 90-plus kind of team. Like, just across that team, like, 910 has a ponytail, crazy long hair. Mazzinho's mid-length, Senzu's mid-length to long. Techno's is nice and trim, but it's still mid-length. And then Blitz is the shortest haircut, I guess. He's still got a good amount of hair, so that's a sick group of mohawks, you know what I mean? So they'd be in the 90s. But anyway, I'm eliminating them because they've all got black hair, obviously. Yeah, okay, let's move into logo colors. White logo. Now I'm going by HLTV profile logo color. I don't know what other place you could go. I don't know what teams have alternate colors elsewhere, but yeah, just based on HLTV profile logo, because we could get confused.
I get 8.
8, so not a white logo. So goodbye Spirit. Just making sure. Goodbye G2.
See, this is the fun part about the interpretation game, because you could just ask me, is it white or not, and I could give a 99 or a 0. Or like, yeah. But then I could also go like, how close is their actual color to a white color? And it's like, there's a lot of different ways you could go here. I'll say 8.
Very
or I could also go, how often have they used a white logo at some point, or played for a team who used a white logo. And it's like, I could go for that here and there. So that's a fun and extremely frustrating part about this game. It's fun for me. I assume it's the opposite.
It's fun for you to make shit up and cheat. Right. Is the current team name... It could be a team, so technically it wouldn't matter if it's current or not, but it's just a player. It's the current team name in the first half of the alphabet.
Yes.
Okay, so
if you've asked the binary question, so the answer is 99.
Now that I know I can ask binary questions, I'm gonna abuse the fuck out of it. Goodbye Vitality.
Now it's just 20 questions. Yeah.
Hello G2. I don't know. You're not exactly dark hair. You're not exactly light haired. So I'm gonna say goodbye to you. My favorites for this were FaZe and Falcons already. I guess 3D Max have to be left open. Okay. I don't know. They're not that light coloured. Okay, if we're doing 20 questions, team or player?
I won't answer that. I won't answer that. I won't answer. All right, no, come on. I could give you a grade. First letter is the team name in the first half of the alphabet. I'll give you 80 instead.
Great. Still the same place I was before.
Yeah.
Glasses.
On a hunch, I'd say pretty low. Let me just double check that. It's probably like a 9, I'd say.
9. So if it's team, it's certainly not Falcons. They have 2 bespectacled motherfuckers. So FaZe is still an option. Bespectacled. Stralis is still an option, actually, but they do have a white logo on their jersey, and they use the white logo a lot. But they are known for the red logo.
Mm-hmm.
You are a rat, so I have to keep them open. Distinct lack of glasses on Fnatic as well. And on in a circle. Okay. Let's go with the Power 10. How connected to the Power 10 is this thing?
Ooh, your Power 10. The Power 10, yeah.
Yeah, there is only one. It is mine.
You could make it. Somebody else could make a Power 10.
Nope, fuck them. It's mine.
All right.
Just gonna check chat. There's nobody that watches American college football.
20, I would guess. I'd say 15.
15. So we're talking about not a great team or player. Okay. You know what I mean by this? There's a good chance you try to manipulate it to give me a misleading answer. Racism.
That's the game.
Counter-Strike racism. To be specific.
Look,
Esports Counter-Strike racism.
Management racism. 65, I think is a good call.
Fairly racist. Okay.
Fairly racist.
Guess NIP were never. Oh no, they're very late in the alphabet. Never mind. So I'm currently between Fnatic and Inner Circle myself. Okay. Yo, why is it that Fleerax looks like a Who out of Whoville? Like, for real. Anyway.
I need to see this. You are not wrong.
I'm not wrong, am I? Okay, I'm just going to say Fnatic.
You are correct. Fnatic is 100.
Let's go.
Yep.
That's probably the quickest I've ever done this.
Yeah, you have it. You got it in number 8. In question number 8, which I think, it is the earliest. I think you've done 11 or something before, which was quicker. But yeah, you got there. Good job. Obviously in the news this week, so they were sort of top of mind.
Oh yeah, they were. Yeah. Not in my mind. My mind is always somewhere.
No.
All right. That brings us to the Eternal Shuffle. Because it never ends. There's always roster moves. There's always something happening. Quack, what do you have for me?
It's going to be relatively quick today. But we have Mongols have obviously cut Senzu. And they've added, at least for the next event they have to play, which is Chengdu. They didn't say anything about the major. But for Chengdu, at the very least, Control-Ez is going to step in. I assume Chengdu had an earlier roster lock than the major does. The major has its roster lock in 3 days. So I assume it's going to be Control-Ez in the major as well. But in theory, they could have used this time to trial somebody else. But for now, let's assume it's Control-Ez. That's who's finishing out the season.
Yeah, so obviously, if I exclude any surrounding context and just say, if I lose Senzu and add Control-Ez, what is the grade? It's like an F.
Yeah.
Like,
hell yeah.
Obviously. Given that they were likely not entirely behind this idea as a team, and, they wouldn't have done this without heavy prompting by Senzu, or some sort of intervention being needed, I do think there's a good chance we should actually be giving them like a B, given that there's not much else they could have done. But Counter-Strike-wise, F.
Yep. It's a... Control is probably not the worst you could do with the last-minute change like this. You couldn't get anybody out of the Huns. They were kind of lucky that Chinggis Warriors didn't make the major in the end. Because then they would have been kind of gigafucked. Then I think, obviously a lot of people started speculating about players like No Cry, Slaxy, and stuff like that. If you exclude both the Huns and Chinggis Warriors, that's kind of who you have to go to. Like you go to that, or you go to Fury 5K, or fucking Kamui, or other players who I only know by name, and maybe slightly better. Anyway, Chinggis Warriors, be gone. Yeah, it's that's what's happened. Controllers is out. He's a he played for Chinggis Warriors. He was recently replaced, I think, even before all this, and he wasn't that good. He has played with Mara in the past in the Mongols show. So in the Mongols team a long time ago in 2017. So yep, it's crazy. It's pretty crazy. So yeah, I guess they've just gone for comfort. I feel like it's sort of the best you can do.
It's a difficult thing to make happen given players aren't available. Yeah. Like if you could literally take a pick of the Mongolian scene, you'd take a Yami, you'd take a Cobra Zero, you'd like a talent, but.
You could have had a Yami. Like Yami is in theory possible. They also have an academy team, and they said they didn't have time to trial anybody from the academy team. So it sounds like they did want somebody like a young star player to come in here. Controllers is not that. He is old and not a star player. But I feel like it's obviously a trying situation for Mongols. It's obviously going to destabilize them a bit. And to go with somebody who has played with Mara, who has played for the Mongols before, who is probably not the worst idea. So for that, pretty good. We're not going to speculate on what the Senzu thing is, to be honest. Like we said, it's like there's a here and there. Could be any number of things, and probably it's not helping that we're speculating. I hope we get to know at some point. He's not going to play in the major. Unfortunately, it's weird. It sounded. What I will say, he said that this has been coming for a while. I'm kind of surprised they did it after the major cutoff, if that's the case. Or, not just after the major entirely. But I guess it's something we're going to find out eventually, hopefully.
Yeah.
Virtus Pro have permanently cut IC, and Bist is now their opper.
He's permacut, damn.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate this. I really don't hate this. Bist is mega talented, fun to watch. IC is a guy I never really fully bought into, as a talent. Like, I was on the same page as Yumi when this happened. I was like, when IC gets signed, all the hype from Amcal, I was like, I'm not that big on him. And since then, he's been, on a team that's terrible, but also himself not that special. So why not? So yeah, I like the move. I'll give it an A, actually. Go for it. Promote him. Try it.
Pretty good.
Still a bit too young.
Virtus Pro sort of in that situation where they some people stick around too long, like some of their players, and some of them just get recycled. But they're sort of past that phase, and now is the phase. In a way, it feels a little bit like what OG were doing, where they had a roster which was good. They sort of ran with it too long, and then they started recycling talent which used to be good when you get players like Keto and Fasher into the team. Then they sort of hit rock bottom, and it's like, okay, now we have to try young players, and that's when they started signing players like some of the ones they have now with Kristen and stuff. And I sort of feel like it's the same thing with Virtus Pro, where like they've maybe realized that we've sort of hit rock bottom. We can't keep considering ourselves the top team in Russia. Like, we no longer have that pull. It's time we start using the talented players on our academy roster. So that's cool.
They kind of have to.
I like that.
They kind of have to. And I think that's, honestly, better way to do it. Rather than being mediocre with mid players who are 30, just be mediocre with young guys who are finding their feet, and you might eventually develop.
Yeah. Inner Circle have temporarily benched Niffy. I still don't know.
It's
You know?
Niffy according to Onic.
Okay, then it's Niffy. And due to personal reasons, we don't know what, but he's temporarily on the bench, and in that temporary, they are going to be playing with the zero fix instead.
I mean, not much of a grade I can really have on this because of the temporary nature of the move. It's not like this is a move they're making. It's a temporary thing, so I'm not really going to grade it. I just think, yes, it's a loss of some value because zero fix is good, but not knifey good, or Niffy good, considering Niffy's ability to play beyond his roles. It's a temporary loss of value, but it's not crazy. It's not dramatic, so it's kind of whatever.
Zero fix played with this mixed roster for a while, and it was actually decent in the past 3 months in online CS. Almost 60 maps. Wow. Okay. So yeah, it's you could do a lot worse than zero fix, I think, but you're losing a good player, and that's not good. I hope he comes back. Good for zero fix. Get some playtime. So I hope maybe he can find a team after that. FlyQuest have added Azure as a coach.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, that's literally about it. I think they have been playing with him as a coach for a pretty long while now. I remember this being talked about a pretty good while ago.
Probably since the Urcast benching, right? Roughly.
Yeah. No, he was head coaching them at Draculan. So yeah, pretty much around then. Yeah.
Okay, so not crazy.
It's a month in the making.
Not crazy recent move, but look.
They announced it now, so yeah.
He's a decent leader. He's shown that in the past.
Yeah.
Not a crazy tactician or crazy innovator or anything, but hopefully he can add something to this roster because they have the talent to be better than they've been.
Yeah. But yeah, Medisport. This is my signed Malo 9 jersey, by the way. You viewers have been gawking at
really?
also, I hope.
I couldn't tell. It doesn't say.
Yeah. Signed it in a perfect spot to be on the podcast as well. So this is Malo 9 signature. This is this is what I'm going to be selling for millions of dollars when he wins 5 majors. They have cut. Lumen and Plopsky is taking a temporary break. Or temporary break. I don't know if it's temporary. He just took a break for personal reasons. That might mean anything.
Yeah, so can't really say much about that.
Lumen is
obviously, out. Lumen out. Nice. Not a big fan of him. I mean, you recently just made a defense for him, but sometimes
it's a small defense. It's a small defense. I'll say I think by virtue of the fact that he was the worst player on a team which Swedish fans expect to be the best Swedish team, but was the worst Swedish teams, that means in the eyes of them he's the devil. I think he caught a little bit too much flack for what he was doing. He's still a 101 opper. He's not Christu,
Yeah, but that's
it was going to happen
versus genocide. We
yeah, but people would have made him out to be
ticket.
No, but no. Of course, it's still justified, but people made it out to be a genocide. That's see what I mean.
Sometimes felt like it. But
that's what's happening.
Swedish Amanek is such a diss to Amanek. Amanek provided so much value with a Mac 10. I don't know what you're talking about.
Jacquinho is the Swedish Amanek, to be honest.
I didn't see Jacquinho in a major final. Anyway.
I saw Isak in a major final.
Yeah, the worst one. Let's be real.
All right. Look, the Gromov leak, which was coming out, is that Jorko is coming in.
Yeah, which I
don't know if that's true.
I'm pretty okay with that. I like that. I think Jorko
is they're going international.
Interesting prospect at 16. So good.
Yeah, they're going international. I don't hate the move. As much as some people will say, why didn't you pick up Fuzi? Why didn't you pick up Knock? And I honestly agree. You could have both those players would have been excellent signings at pretty much any point in the past 2 years for Medisport to make. But at this point, Fuzi is probably too high for you to get him, and Knock you probably could get, but if you want to go international, then just go international. And I'm still wondering about that fifth spot who's replacing Plopsky. There you probably have to go international anyway, so it's not the worst idea. I don't hate it. Yeah. Let's hope it gets better.
Yep.
Nemesis have added Nexius and Note, and I put this in because there is a noteworthy thing here. Nemesis are not that good. It's not that good of a team. But Note is, with this transfer, he is also involved in a contract dispute with Laser Cats, who are claiming that Note is still on contract with Laser Cats, like while signing for Nemesis.
Right.
And this is an ongoing thing. So yeah, keep an eye on that. But hey, Nexius, you've actually seen a bit of him, I would assume, having paid attention to Mouse NXT and other projects we like in the past couple of months and years. What do you think about him?
I mean, he's kind of like the Shane of his era of Mouse NXT, where like I don't think he's a bad rifler. I just don't think he was excellent enough in the spots he was given to have really excited people.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I do think he can still be a decent player. Like he wasn't it wasn't the best version of NXT either. Obviously, it was the PR, Crizzen, Syra, plus Orpa, forget who, version of it.
It was they swapped it, but Slend was there for a bit, I think.
Yeah. It was that edition, which wasn't bad. So no, I mean, it's not a bad move to have made. If you're Nemesis, like it's not like Nexius is done with, but it's just it's not the most exciting roster move in the world, and he wasn't very inspiring on OG. So hopefully this is better.
Yep. Genghis Warriors have also made another change aside from controllers. They've dropped Ariacle and they've added Tikwak. And Tikwak is apparently from the Mongols Academy roster.
Have dropped... Oh, Ariukel, that guy. Yeah, whatever.
Ariacle. Yes.
Ariukel, whatever. Okay. Weird. Cool. I don't have any opinion on Tikwak. I've never seen him play in my life. Ariukel was droppable, though, so whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I look, if Tikwak, it would be weird if Tikwak turns out to be a crazy star player for Genghis Warriors, and Mongo still went for Controlas instead of their own academy player to replace Senzu. But
yeah, that would be strange.
I doubt that would be strange. Doubt it's gonna happen. And the final thing, this has been reported by Dust2 Brazil. Gaimin Gladiators are cutting Bartin and they're adding Phelps. And I'll just remind you who the Gaimin Gladiators roster is because I had also forgotten. It is Nekis, Shize, soon to be Phelps, Jota, and BSD.
I mean, Phelps is good. He's not quite as hot as he once was. You know, with life, your reaction times get slower. You get a bit fatter. You know, he's not as hot as he once was. But he still like puts up crazy numbers domestically, typically. So no, not a bad risk, not a bad gamble.
Yeah, no, good Brazil pickup, and yeah, that's the shuffle. Not as eternal as usual.
Great, the eternal shuffle is over, and we bring ourselves into prospect of the week. It's time to talk about some kids. I'm going to talk about one who I watched last week. I watched a demo, and in that week period, he averaged a 1.4 rating. I'm, of course, going with Grix. I had a couple other nice options I could have gone with, but I've actually watched Grix, like, directly a lot in the last week.
Yep.
He's been fantastic. 0.94 KPR, plus 5.5% round swing. Kind of nuts.
Yep.
Obviously, big, huge upgrade to have brought him in. Just a crazy talent. Hilarious that Heroic couldn't use him right. Somehow, just it didn't work. And here he is, trying to carry the Germans to relevancy. So yeah, I'm a big fan of this guy. Hopefully he actually does succeed in that sort of moniker I gave him of carrying big. Like, if he can do it, that'd be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, Grix has obviously been excellent in big. It has prompted some questioning of what the hell is going on. Why is this big move working? But yeah, it's happening. He is as good as we knew him to be, despite him not being. But yeah, it's working out for them, and that's cool. Like, as much, look, all right. Big, catch a lot of flack. deservedly so. They are kind of trash. They have been kind of trash for quite a long time. I still kind of want them to do well, and I'm not unhappy when they win games. I like that. I like Big. It's a shame to see a team like Big with some talented players and some storied players as well, sitting as far down as they sometimes do. So if this is what they need to start being good, then so be it. That's fun. Good job, Griggs.
Yes, good job. Keep carrying. Maybe we'll see you at a major next year.
Hopefully.
Now, Quack, you've clearly misspelt something, because what the fuck is that?
Look, this is not one I can tell you to go look up yourself, because this was the only Counter-Strike I watched literally all weekend, because it was my job to watch it. But I was very much enjoying it. It was the close qualifier for the Swedish Cup, Svenska Cupen, where I was doing social media, which means that I watch the stream all the time, and I make clips and I post them on social media. So that means I was watching sort of the, I'll tell you the crop of players I was watching. I was watching Foot Academy, so I was watching Dest, Wonder, Brillo, Hume, and Rendy. And they won the group. They played really well. I'll say, once again, there's something about Dest, which like my eye test just goes, wow, clutch upon clutch. There's impact here and there. There's something about him which makes me feel like he's really good. So I'll give him an honorable mention. But the player who impressed me the most map to map in this qualifier was B-Sover of Lil Mix. B-Sover, which he played really well. And we were doing like MVP graphics for this for every map we played. And B-Sover was literally in contention for basically all of the maps they played, because he played so good for Little Mix. And when they were down in that sort of lower, like in the lower bracket of the group, and they were fighting for elimination, he was basically the only guy putting out consistent output. And that's relative to like you had. It's a very low level field. It's very inexperienced. This is the sort of thing that I feel like Plessen and Bodenmaster would farm, considering their experience. But it wasn't them. It was BS Over doing all this. And he's 19 years old. It's like, we know Lil Mix is a bit of a talent factory. If I am looking at this Lil Mix team and wondering who is going to be the next Lil Mix talent out of here, I'm feeling it's BS Over, because holy shit, he played really well. So yeah, he was up there on all the maps I watched. And yeah, it's a sneak peek. You're not going to see this on HLTV. His HLTV stats are kind of shit. I don't think he played anything in the last 3 months either. But get this guy in a proper project. I think Lil Mix are probably doing a proper project at some point relatively soon. Get this guy on a proper project, and he's gonna start delivering, and he's gonna start delivering in a really solid way. And yeah, it's a bit of a sneak peek. Might not be the next Melo 9. He might not be the next whoever, Nilo. He might not be that, but he's really solid. He's a prospect, and he's somebody like I shout out Svedje Head the other day. This guy's gonna be better. He's gonna be better. He's already better, and he's gonna start showing that. So yeah. Unfortunately, he didn't qualify. They lost, like, it was a 3-mapper, all three, like both of the elimination games they played, and unfortunately the decider game ended up being a very close loss. I think they lost from like an 8-4 lead on the final map, which is always tricky. No, sorry, it was 6-6, but yeah, anyway, they had the lead and they lost it. So unfortunately, I won't be able to see him at the LAN event, but yeah, I hope to see him in future events. Okay. He's been bubbling for a bit, but now he's coming. He's coming up.
I'm sure you've picked him before, I'm convinced
I'm not
I've
sure
seen
I
this
did.
confusing mess of letters before. Or at least you've talked to me about him enough. But anyway, I'm patiently awaiting a proper team out of this guy, or for his team to play an event I'm going to be following. Because, he played at the EEF this year. That's about it, and that did not go particularly well for the team. His numbers.
I can tell you a million reasons why that happened, but yeah.
Yeah, his numbers are good, but the team did not play well in general. So, yeah. Well, we've already talked about it a bit, why it went so catastrophically. You've talked about it. So, no, I'm not done with this player, not by a long shot. BS is not over, indeed. We'll see what comes, but he's a little mixed player for now, which means we won't see a lot of him. So maybe he will be the final piece on Metasport.
Yeah, a fun joke which has started popping up is that his name is B. Sover. It's short for Björn and Sover, which means the bear is sleeping. And, you know, wherever he activates, you can do the be vaken thing about the bear is awake. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Riveting humor in the Swedish Counter-Strike scene.
I know. But okay. That is our show. Thank you all for tuning in live. I know you'd rather be watching Fnatic get their ass absolutely pounded by FlyQuest, but thank you for being here instead. If you're watching this on the VOD and you've made it this far, you are a hero. Leave us a comment telling us why you think that was the funniest joke you've ever heard. And we'll see you next week.